If you've had the same goals over and over and continually fail to reach them, I need you to listen to this. Trust me, been there. But here's what we have a tendency to do. When we set goals and continually don't reach them, we look to the system, the routine, the habits, the rituals, the hacks. We buy the courses, coaches, memberships, and all that, and we find ourselves in the same spot. Here's why. We're looking at the tools instead of first addressing the identity. I recently interviewed Terry Rice, who has interviewed countless high-level folks, and he said
they've all become successful by a simple three-step process: identity, vision, rituals. They got very clear on who their identity was, like what lights them up, what they care about, like the contribution they want to make to the world. And then from there, and that's the deep work everyone avoids, from there they got clear on their vision. Based on this talent I have, on this drive, here's what I want to do. Lastly, they got clear on their rituals. For me to live in that vision, what lifestyle do I have to live? And that's it. So it's identity, vision, and rituals.
Now, working on your identity is a long game. This is a process of healing, evolving. I don't know if we ever stop working on our identity, and maybe you don't want to wait forever to work on your goals. So what do? Enter in the alter ego. Now, this is highly controversial and may challenge your belief systems around what is possible for you, but lean in. Lady Gaga in this clip explains how she, as Stephanie, created Gaga to heal.
I invented myself, Lady Gaga. I curated my life to be an expression of my pain. This is how I overcame my depression, is by creating somebody that I felt was stronger than me.
You've heard about Slim Shady, Kobe Bryant using Black Mamba. There's Beyonce who uses Sasha Fierce. A lot of celebrity athletes and high performers use alter egos to get into that state. But what about the regular old folks? How do you create an alter ego? I had the honor of interviewing Todd Herman, who wrote the book Alter Ego and actually worked with Kobe Bryant on developing his. And he shared this story in our conversation about when he was younger, how he developed an alter ego.
In high school, I was a scrawny kid. Like I was 6 feet tall, but I was 159 pounds. And you kind of need some mass on you if you want to be playing football. Or at least that's the story that I was telling myself. So here I have this desire, but I have this sort of fundamental need of wanting to be bigger. And thankfully, I stayed connected to my creative imagination. And I had my two heroes in football were Walter Payton and Ronnie Lott. And then I have, where I come from in Alberta, Canada, our family's farm and ranch, it's kind of rich in Native American history. And so as a kid, I used to ride around on my horse Crackerjack and looking for like old fire rings and things like that. And I would dig up and look for arrowheads and stuff. So I had this tribe of 5 Native American warriors led by Geronimo as sources of inspiration. So I'll kind of walk through my process for how I would get into that alter ego. So I would be sitting in the locker room and I had 5 trading cards, 3 of Walter Payton and 2 of Ronnie Lott, they're both like Hall of Fame football players.
Yeah.
And I would take one of Walter's and I'd put it into my helmet because I wanted to think like him and see the field like he did because he was just an amazing running back. And then I took his other 2, 2 more of Walter Payton, I put them in my thigh pads in my pants because I wanted to run like him. I wanted to be powerful like him. And then the 2 trading cards that were left were of Ronnie Lott. And I put one on my left shoulder pad and one on my right shoulder pad because I wanted to hit like him. And all of that is, I'm doing that and I'm sort of just really focusing on the energy of each of those players. And then I'd close my eyes and I would go into this mental movie theater in my mind. And at the other end of the movie theater were these 2 doors, and the 2 doors opened, and in the one side would walk Ronnie and Walter walking towards me. And on the other side was this tribe of 5 Native American warriors led by Geronimo, and he was holding the 5 trading cards. And as they approached, Walter would say to me, "We want you to take these cards as a representation of who we are and how we play." And then Geronimo would hand them out to me and I would go to grab them. And right when I put my fingers on them, he would pull them back towards him. And that's where Walter would lean in and say, "But don't for 1 second dishonor our memory by not showing up like we would out there." Okay. And I talk about that in the book. We as human beings, we love to honor things. That's the ritualization. That's the storytelling of our minds. Then Geronimo would release and I would take them. Now my eyes would open. And that's when I basically do my whole routine with the trading cards. Okay. So I've got them in my pads. I'm getting dressed and I put on my helmet. We get on the bus and we go down to the stadium to play. As I'm walking off the bus, I would take my chin strap, and before my foot would go down on the steps to get down onto the pavement, I would take my chin strap and I would snap it into place. And so going to like visualization, just to explain to people, visualization has gotten a bit of a bad rap in the way that it's taught to people, because it's actually not very easy to do. It's a learned skill to be able to be, even though we all do it every single day, to be able to direct your mind in the direction that you want. That's not easy for most people to see themselves do things. Okay. So I'm just saying that to people to like say, hey, pump the brakes on the judgment that you can't do visualization well. The other side of it is that we think that it's all about forming mental pictures in our mind. The reality is about 20% of society can't form mental pictures in their mind. They don't have the ability to do it. My wife is a good example. She can't form mental pictures in her mind. But what we can do is sound, smell, and taste are very much, they activate the brain in a different way as well. I say that because we want to try to use really all of our senses when we're putting ourselves into that situation. So going back to the sound is a great triggering device. So when I would snap that in, I'd feel this rush of the 5 Native American warriors coming into my heart. And because I don't need to invent my connection to that Native American culture. I love it. I study it, have since I was a little kid. I was connected to it from where I grew up. And that's when Geronimo would take over, because that was my nickname for Rigo, was Geronimo. And so you thought you were playing against scrawny number 17 out on the football field, but you weren't. You were coming up against a tribe of 8, me plus Ronnie and Walter and my 5 Native Americans. And it allowed me to play way bigger. And I didn't get caught into my insecurities of how small I was, because that wasn't taught out there. That was Geronimo. And as has been proven multiple times through so many different stories, the human body is really capable of some phenomenal feats when it's highly motivated to do something. A mom lifting a car off of a child that's trapped underneath it, right? Whereas any other day, she can't lift that, 2,000 pound machine off of anything. But in that moment, based on motivation. So I say all that because the creative imagination is unique. I would also find myself playing in the zone and flow state because I'm so caught in my creative imagination. So I played in the flow state way more than an average player ever would have, because I was disassociating from what I thought I could do. And disassociation is a very powerful tool that we can use. And that's one of the powerful mechanisms that makes alter egos work for people. So I'd say that.
Y'all.
Back around, Heather, to is that me being inauthentic? Is it? Is me showing up as Geronimo out on that field and playing way beyond what I thought I would be capable of as Todd? Is that me being inauthentic?
Or is it pushing yourself to think outside of the box, be creative, expansive, or potential?
Pulling me into a completely different level that was inaccessible through the concept of what Todd could do, but through the concept of Geronimo, I can do it.
Now, in his book, he walks through the strategy for developing alter egos, but I wanted to give you a couple here. First of all, creating the psychological dissonance between you and that other self. You create a name for it, right? Then you create a ritual that helps you step into that name. Here's an example. I interviewed entrepreneur Lucas Bean, and this is how he created a ritual around his alter ego.
What I did was I accidentally came up with a ritual. I was a wicked shy person. I was the guy that stood on the side of the wall at student dances and stuff. Girls would come up to me and I'd be like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to dance because I'm just super shy."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Look, I gotta snap out of this. My life is on the line. My existence is on the line." So I came up with this little ritual where I would and I knew I had to talk to people and be outgoing, and I was already a nice person already. So I guess that was a positive. I also am, have an unfair advantage. I have physical traits like being 6'5" and all these other things that made it easier to talk to people, I guess. I didn't see that though. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really notice that about myself. I didn't really care. I didn't really look at it like that. But my little trait, my little discovery was I created this like different version of myself.
Alter ego.
Yeah. And I didn't know I was doing it, but I created a little, I created this like little ritual in the back of the restaurant, in the kitchen area where you pick up the food and deliver it. I was just standing there. I'm like, I would take this little shot of coffee. No, it wasn't like a lot of coffee. It was like a tiny amount of coffee, but it was like mixed with like ice. And I did this little ritual and I go, all right, and I would just like do a little tap on the table and then just pound this coffee and go, all right, Luke, you're on. and I was on stage. Like I gave myself permission to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And over 13 or 14,000 tables I waited in my 4 years of waiting tables. I did the calculation of like 15 tables a night, how many nights I worked, all that stuff. And I was like, oh, it's like 13 or 14,000 tables. My alter ego kind of like merged with me, the insecure, shy guy. And eventually I became a good speaker, right? I was able to talk to people, things like that. And it was like, I didn't say and I worked on that a lot. So I remember my senior year of college and they were like, you are now in like a speech class. You had to take speech. And I was like, oh man, I got to take speech. That sucks. But then I got there and they're like, okay, you guys can all test out of this class right now. If you get a 100 on your entry speech, right?
Yeah.
And they go, you have to say nothing, but you have to do all these like physical things in front of the entire class. It was like 150 people too. So just imagine this. So I'm like standing in front of the 150 people and I'm like, oh, I think I know what to do. You have to do something without saying a word, but everybody has to know what it is. And if you're able to make somebody laugh, like make people laugh also, you test out. And once everybody knows what you do, knows what you're basically trying to show. And then if you can make people laugh, you don't have to do this ever again. And so there was a couple people that tried. They all failed at it. People didn't know what they were doing. People laughed, but they were just like, we don't have any idea what you were doing. I went up and just played a little bit of like virtually like played tennis and all this other stuff and just showed, I made him laugh and everybody was like, yeah, we know what he did. They're like, yeah, you got it. You're really good at speaking in front of people. I then like gave like this speech in front of people. I had no problem doing it. And I didn't have to really do anything in speech class after that because I guess I aced it. It's really easy to speak in front of people for me now though. So
I love, I knew it was going to be alter ego. I don't know how I knew it.
I didn't even know what that was called, by the way. And I didn't know Beyonce did that too. Someone told me like, oh, Beyonce has like an alter ego. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you might be thinking, isn't this inauthentic? Could this possibly harm our own healing journey? Well, I asked Todd Herman about that.
Yeah. And it's been said by so many other people, whether it's clients or other individuals in, public world, where Beyonce could see Sasha Fierce going and doing it. But she would have a hard time seeing Beyonce do it. Why? Because Beyonce was a gospel singing little girl from Houston, Texas, who was now put into a band of 8 where they were singing pop lyrics that were sometimes provocative and now dancing a little bit more provocatively on stage. Well, her entire relationship with music before then was buttoned up Sunday dress, sitting at the front or standing at the front of the church, singing gospel hymns. And people would come from miles around to listen to this amazing voice. But Beyonce had a hard time seeing herself do the other thing. So she created Sasha Fierce to go do it so that she could pursue her creative endeavors. Now, is that being fake? No.
Is it? What do y'all think?
And by the way, that's someone else's judgment. The only judgment that matters is Beyonce's.
That's good.
Right? I mean, so everyone's sitting around on social media judging others for their actions. Rightfully so, maybe sometimes, but you don't know what someone's deeper motivations are. You don't know where they came from and all the different challenges and issues that they might have had. And they're clinging to an idea that helps to keep this little flame alive within. And, as someone who went through some pretty horrible experiences, the great gift that experience gave me, because again, that experience can't only be bad. Because nature tells me that experience can't only be bad. So then
you're blowing my mind with that.
What could be good about that? And here's what's good about it is I call it capabilities. Capabilities spelled in the sense of cape, C-A-P-E -abilities. Any phenomenal challenge that we've had in life, any challenge that we pursue can give us cape abilities. My cape that experience gave me was an extraordinary amount of compassion for the human experience and others. So not sitting back in judgment of other people as much, but it also helps to drive me to do the work that I do so that I can maybe help other people put on a cape to unpack some new abilities within them so they can see themselves differently. And if I do that enough times throughout the course of my life, then maybe I've left the world a better place.
I'd love to hear from you. Those of you who are concerned, comment down below and let me know what is your biggest fear or hesitation using an alter ego. For those of you who are super excited, what does this unlock for you?